Hey, how you doing today? My name is Relyea, and thank you so much for stopping by. Today, we have the creative director for Blue Fire. Is that right? It is creative director, right?
Yeah, it's actually, I guess, being a small team, it's many roles,
Yes.
but I guess creative director is fine.
Got it. Got it. And Gabriel, correct?
Exactly.
I am so hyped for you to be here. Very, very excited. I got turned on to this your game, Blue Fire. I believe it is Emery who I saw playing it on Twitter. She was actually doing speed runs of the demo already, and I didn't even realize it was playable in any way, shape, or form. So I reached out, tried the game. I believe that I can put a link down below if you haven't already seen the gameplay of the demo, and I'll probably have some of it running in the background as we're talking. But it is good. It is so good. Oh, I kind of want to talk about the past as far as like your team, what you guys have been working on in the past, and then kind of go into what you're working on now and how that's going. So first off, tell me a little bit about the team and what you guys have worked on in the past.
All right. So we're actually a pretty young team, and this is the first game we're all working together on.
Really?
But yeah,
Based on the
and
demo,
it's
I wouldn't
actually
have guessed that.
well, thanks. And it's actually the first game, I guess, for several in the team,
Okay.
and it's actually the first game we've directed, like besides a company like I mean, I guess it's a pretty long game, so we're not counting like small projects and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, it's our first game, and we've been working for around 2 years as a team. We're 8 people in the office, and we're actually two programmers,
Mm-hmm.
an animator, two artists, actually three artists, and I guess our business manager. But since we're a small team, we have many roles, and we just jump around. A lot of us are generalists, and we do from like game design and art, animation. We just kind of handle a lot of stuff, and I guess it's a must. Your small team, and
Yeah.
also I forgot to mention we have our sound guy in the office too, and that's a huge help.
Oh wow. Yeah. So how did you guys all get together if you guys have never if you guys didn't start by working on games, how did you guys kind of come together and say, yep, we're going to do this? And then I imagine there's a lot of learning as you're going then.
Yeah. Well, I actually always wanted to, for a long time now, I wanted to make a game, and I originally wanted to make a Kickstarter campaign and make a game when I got in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sure I was going to do like a 3 month concept for a game and just run a super successful Kickstarter campaign. And then I learned that doesn't work that way. That
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. And and so I guess I just got really into the game industry overall. And I think this was about 6 or 7 years now ago. And I just started working, and eventually I ended up becoming a freelance artist. And I started working remotely on other games. But I always wanted to go back eventually and just work on our game and just make a studio. So when the time came, I had been working for a while on this game called Split Game Arena Warfare,
Okay.
and I'd been working on that project with my brother for like a year, and we eventually decided, okay, let's go all in, and we decided to open Rovi Studios, and we rented the office, and it was pretty fun at first because it was like just the two of us,
Uh-huh.
and we'd already been working together in my like we used to work in my bedroom, and we'd work for like I guess 14, 18 hours maybe, just
Whew.
and when I stopped working, I would just go and lay down in my bed, which was like, I don't know, right besides my computer. So
Yeah.
I practically spend all day there. But yeah, we eventually ended up getting the office, and over time we started bringing more people into the team, and at what point because at first when we started working on Blue Fire, it was just the two of us and one of the other artists, and eventually, and we were working part-time in the game, and then as soon as we would like work the first 4 hours in the morning on the game,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just switched back to outsourcing and remote contract work. That was actually what was bringing money into the studio. And at one point we just said, okay, let's completely go on all in now, and we had this budget that we could go on for several months. But we were lucky because before we even got to, I guess, a critical point with that,
Mm-hmm.
we were able to find I guess they actually found us, but the graffiti team reached out to us, and we actually signed with them to have Blue Fire published. So that
That's
made
awesome.
things a lot easier.
That's huge. That's such a like I don't know. That's such a cool story. Especially the where you're working with your brother. Um, that sounds like a long days. But yeah, one thing I would like to get your take as far as anybody who hasn't already heard of the game. And maybe people who are part of the Hollow Knight community and this is the first thing that they're getting. Tell us a little bit about the game itself. I've got, like I said, I'll have some gameplay running in the background, but yeah, tell us about it.
Okay, so Blue Fire is a challenging 3D action adventure game, and I guess I just don't want to use the standard pitch, so I'll try to describe it with I guess original words now.
Mhm.
But I would say it's kind of like a Dark Souls meets Zelda meets Mario game, and that's pretty much what we went for. Because what we kind of felt was that we grew up playing Nintendo games, and we're huge fans of like Mario, Zelda, all those games, Donkey Kong, Banjo Kazooie, and
Yes.
what we felt was that we kind of wanted to play games like those, but I kind of felt that even with the resurgence of 3D platformers in the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years, I kind of felt that all of them were kind of the same themes, and I really
Yeah.
wanted to play like a very dark platformer, and I just didn't feel that that something like that was out there. So yeah, we just eventually really wanted to make that, and as soon as we got the chance, we started working on it, and it's actually changed a lot since we first, I guess, made the first demo and game design concept sheet. Uh, the game actually started taking shape on its own. Some things work, others didn't,
Hmm.
and we just put a lot more focus on the things that worked, and just ended up removing probably a bunch of stuff that we thought was really cool in the beginning, but didn't actually end up making too much sense in the game, or just didn't feel right on the control.
Yeah. Fair enough. When you designed it, did you have a certain console or platform in mind? Like you're like, I want this to be on the Switch, or I want this to be, or was it you kind of designing straight for PC first?
Well, we always really wanted the game to be on the Switch, even from the beginning. So I guess that was our main target as a platform. And it was actually great that we did that, because early on we took a lot of decisions that had a huge impact later on in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
But like, since the first time we booted the engine for the project, we started removing a lot of unnecessary things. And overall, during development, we just didn't spend time on things like I guess physics and destruction and a lot of like fancy eye candy.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't our focus, and we knew we would probably struggle with having fancy effects running on Switch, and that was a really good call. And regarding the art style, we started in trying out a lot of things, and we always had this in mind. Even back then, we didn't have a Switch dev kits,
Oh,
and we
interesting. Okay.
couldn't actually test anything, but we had like low-end computers, and we would test them there. We try to gather as much online information as we could regarding Switch, and have low-end PCs that we thought we could use as benchmark.
Okay.
And in the end, it eventually worked out really good, and the game runs great on Switch. So I guess that was a
Awesome.
good call.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I personally, with certain games like this, I usually end up playing on the Nintendo Switch just because it's easy to just take with me, and kind of continue playing whenever I'm out and about and stuff like that. So always awesome to hear when it's going to come out on the Switch, and it will eventually come out to all platforms. Is that right? Are you guys even shooting for PS5 and Xbox Series X?
Well, we have it's coming out for all platforms. That's definitely.
Yeah.
But we still haven't talked about PS5, so I can't say anything yet. But I'm guessing there shouldn't be any reason why it won't come to PS5.
Yeah, just a in time kind of thing. Okay. All right. So you were saying that the inspirations were like Mario and Zelda and Dark Souls, which that sounds just that actually does kind of sum up the feelings you get as you're playing the game. I also felt like I did get a lot of Hollow Knight vibes out of the game, and I also got a lot. I don't know why, but I was feeling Oddworld's Abe's Odyssey a little bit. Not entirely. I don't know. That was probably more just a vibe, not necessarily directly from the gameplay or anything like that. But it feels really familiar and good. Yeah, I don't know. Were those the main three that you guys had focus on, or were there, or even as we go into like the lore aspect of the game, did you have any like elements that you were thinking of when it came to the lore, and what can you share when it comes to the lore of the game?
Okay, well that's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
so
sorry,
I'll
I kind of just like brain dumped on you all at the same time. So I guess let's jump more so on. So we talked a little bit about where the game came from as far as inspiration, but now how about what is the game about more so on like a story basis, and whatever you're able to share with that.
Okay, well I'll just add something in regarding inspirations before we jump to that.
Yeah.
Because you said something that something happened which was pretty funny, because when we started showcasing the first time we showcased the game was on 2019 no 2018, and like by the end of the year we were at an event. No, I'm sorry, it was a bit later on. But yeah, anyway, we just showcased the first demo that we had in the game, and a lot of people came up to us and were like, okay, this feels like a 3D Hollow Knight. And at that point, we weren't familiar with Hollow Knight. So I guess a bit weird that we weren't aware of the game, but we just weren't. And as soon as we came back from the event, like so many people had commented that the game looks like Hollow Knight, that I just picked up my Switch and I got Hollow Knight. And I just played through the whole thing, and I was super surprised because that game is completely amazing. So good. And so good. And I guess when we started out, Hollow Knight had no inspiration, but after we came back and we saw so many similar things, we were just like, okay, that's I guess there is some stuff here that we should look at, which is kind of neat. So eventually we ended up taking a look at some stuff there, but I wouldn't say it's a main inspiration, just something that we found along the way, which lined up a lot with some of the things we were going for.
That's awesome. So yeah,
but
that works, yeah.
And and then the other inspirations were a lot of Mario, Zelda, and I guess Dark Souls were probably the strongest three. But besides those, there's a huge list. Like Banjo-Kazooie is probably a big inspiration too. Donkey Kong games, and then even like Rayman, a lot of platformers, and even like top-down Zelda-like games. It's just a lot of stuff that we looked at. A huge list.
Got it. And because there's also going to be a lot of things to collect in the game, right?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. It seems whatchamacallit. I remember one thing I kept stumbling upon was in the demo where the emojis that you could buy and like learn like the different dance moves and stuff like that. It was I was kind of, I don't want to say thrown off by it. I just thought it was so interesting and novel, and part of me is just like, I wonder if these are gonna like be used in the game in like a meaningful way, or if it's just purely for fun. Is that Yeah, are those in the are we gonna be able to interact with people using those?
Well, we actually initially we just wanted to have those for fun, but so many people just asked us like, "What can you do in the game with emotes?" That eventually we just talked it over and said, "Okay, let's actually include small things like secrets that you can do with emotes,"
Oh, that's
because
great.
just so many people wanted to do something with them. So
Yeah, because
we
I think
eventually
the language of when you pick one up, it said something along the lines of uh, it made it sound like it was an important thing, and so I'm glad that there will be something we can do with them. Because yeah, that's really awesome. But
but
yeah,
yeah, it's something that came up a lot. And
yeah.
then you also asked regarding the story. Well,
Mm-hmm.
this is something that also ties up to inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
because initially when we started the game, we started, I guess, a lot more simple than and then it ended up getting. And we actually started with, I guess, same concept, like a dark game, like a platform game. But since at that time we were a much smaller team, like we were two, three people working halftime, we just wanted to do like a probably a 3 4 hour experience, like a top.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to do a lot more, I guess, journey like game. We wanted to be dark, not like journey, which is a lot more, I guess, magical. We wanted to have a dark game, but a lot more like isolated experience, having this character go through a lot of like we at one point we didn't even want to have text,
Hmm.
because we didn't even have like writer in the team, and we didn't want to have to pay for localization. So we were just gonna have no text, no UI, and just a lot more, I guess, indie experience. But
Yeah, no UI would have
but
been
we
really interesting.
it would. But I guess in the end, we just as the project grew bigger, a lot more people started talking about the things that they wanted to have in the game. Other people saw the project. We ended up drifting towards. I guess all projects just end up drifting towards the direction in which the team is able to do their best.
That makes sense. Good stuff.
But yeah, and since then, like initially the idea, I don't want to spoil too much lore, because what we really wanted to go for in the beginning, since we wanted to have this, I guess, journey inspired idea,
Mm-hmm.
we pretty much didn't want to say anything about lore, and then just have people go through the whole game, and at the end just actually start piercing together, like putting together all the ideas, and discover what actually happens in both in the story and in the backstory, and actually have people go online or in the server and just say, okay, this is what I think, and have that be something possible, like not have one defined idea, and either somebody gets it or doesn't get it, but
Mm-hmm.
have people bring up ideas that could possibly exist, because I think that's pretty cool. And I think even like in history, I guess like in life, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the past, and there's a lot of people studying it, but not everything
Black and white.
is yeah, exactly. Not everything is black and white, and we thought, how cool would it be if we have this world and we don't have exactly like one backstory, but we have like a. We even consider at some point having some characters tell you how their culture thinks about the backstory, and others how they see it. So eventually, someone could finish the game and could come up with their own backstory and have it make sense, right? Like not stick to one thing. So that's
Interesting.
I guess that's one of the reasons why we didn't want to, and through our campaign we just didn't make a lot of emphasis on the lore.
Yeah.
But and even as we made it, there's a lot of stuff. I guess I actually said this a while back, but it kind of felt like doing a reverse archaeology, because we would just go in and say and kind of agree on an overall structure, both for the backstory and the story, and then when we started implementing a lot of stuff, we realized that some stuff didn't make sense, and some actually had would work better another way. So as we moved through the project, we would just iterate on lore based on what worked and what didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and that was actually pretty interesting. It's not that we came up from something on day one. It was kind of like we ended up discovering what happened while we developed the world itself.
That's
So
awesome.
I guess that was pretty neat. And overall, I'll just I'll say something now. The whole game takes place in this floating castle, which is kind of like it's more than a castle. It's kind of like a land in itself. So inside the castle, there's actually a lot of different, I guess, biomes. There's this whole cave with lava. There's a city. There's a frozen forest. So there's a lot of different environments in the castle, and the whole castle is a structure that was created by gods, the original gods in the game, which serves kind of like a fortress to guard the remaining living creatures, which were actually saved from this huge war in the land. So I'll just, I guess I'll kind of leave it there. So I don't
Yeah,
want to
fair
spoil
enough. I
too
mean,
much.
we get a little bit of that in the demo as at the end cutscene, right? So yeah, so definitely you guys have to check that out. Ooh.
All right.
So along with that, when we start talking about gameplay, there are some really familiar mechanics as far as like the dashing, the double jump, and different pieces like that. Are there any mechanics in the game that are that felt especially good with Blue Fire? Like once you start dialing them in, you're like, yes, we really like the way that looks or feels or whatever.
Well, I guess probably I would say the two or three of the biggest mechanics is probably the wall run. That's just from the start, it felt really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's super versatile. Like you can actually wall run on round surfaces, and you can actually also wall run on moving and rotating platforms, and it just feels good, snappy, responsive.
Yeah.
And that's also because from the start, we were like, since we have a small team and we want to focus a lot on gameplay, we're not gonna have all these fancy root motion animations. So we just took to 100% responsive control, and like compared to new, I guess, much larger like AAA games that right now like have these locomotion animations. Whenever you like, I actually saw a while back ago in the new Star Wars game that you actually do a wall run, but when you jump and when you're getting into the wall run, there's an animation for that. And all those animations actually, I mean, they look really cool, but they take a lot from the game itself. Because in our game, it's like from one frame to the next, you're wall running, and it's super responsive. Whereas in other games, it's, I guess, more fancy, but just not the same gameplay to me.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's something that we really focused on our game. And I don't think there's like considering the wall run and our dash, and the way our jump and double jump works with our coyote time and everything. I actually don't think there's a 3D platformer which is as responsive as ours, which to me is really cool. And it opens up a lot of possibilities of having very challenging platforming on a 3D environment,
Yes.
which honestly I haven't seen so far. And it's something that when we worked on that and we started seeing all the possibilities, we actually realized that it was something that it was probably the most unique thing about our game. Like we could potentially do super hard levels of platforming to the point of like I guess compared to Meat Boy or stuff like that.
Yep.
And we really started digging deep and seeing if that kind of difficulty exists in 3D games, and we weren't able to I guess find it. I mean, a lot of games have very difficult segments. The Mario games usually have at the end of the game, they have these super hard levels, but even then the complexity that our controller allows is probably more than I've seen in other games.
Yeah, especially with all the different movement combinations that can go with it as well. It's gonna it allows for more complex things to happen.
Exactly, and I would say the dash is also something that's super unique to our game. Not because I mean dash exists they've always existed. But in 3D games, I don't think there's a dash like ours, because our dash is probably a lot more like the Celeste dash, and and we haven't seen that in other games. And like I said, uh, Celeste is one game that when the game started taking shape, and we started seeing what things worked and didn't. The movement was probably the best thing about the game, and that's something we got from everybody. So we also started looking like naturally to other games that had a similar feels, and Celeste is a game that we looked at a lot, which is, by the way, an incredible game,
Right.
amazing. And we started seeing like all the possibilities that they created with their simple mechanics, and that opened our eyes a lot. And we were able to introduce a lot of very challenging platforming segments. But I guess something that it's, I guess, kind of sad for me is that there were so many possibilities that we ended up having to lower the platforming difficulty a lot, because I guess people aren't just used to, in 2D platformer games, there's probably a lot more challenging games, so people are used to thinking how to traverse some segments. But there were some areas where we could pull off incredible stunts, but people just took too much time to discover these
How
kind
it
of
gets
things.
put together.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, we'd have these in there's this move that we call in the game that's like a inverse wall jump, where you have I guess like a wall that's facing in the direction of the way you have to jump. And the thing is that you'll have to like jump this beyond the wall, and then you'll have to like double jump back to the wall, and then wall jump in the direction you have to go to gain some more height, and then you'll have to like dodge, dash, or spin attack. And that's something that's super fun to do, and that's I guess the simple way, because we could actually combine that with a lot more other things, and it would go like it's crazy fun to me. But it's something that we ended up leaving in smaller parts of the game, because people would just I guess they're
Discover it
not
naturally.
too, exactly, or they would, but after going through a huge part of the game, and maybe even a smaller audience. But what we ended up doing is we ended up adding a lot of small, I guess, speed running tricks, which you can use these moves if you discover them early on, or if you're just playing the game
Oh,
again.
interesting. So
And
you actually
can,
built it into the game, designed to be like, hey, here, there's a couple
yeah,
of little secret shortcuts and stuff like that.
yeah, exactly.
That is
There's I guess
awesome.
there's a lot of skips, and people actually have discovered a lot of them in the demo, and that's pretty cool. But
Nice.
we intentionally want to leave a lot of these in, because honestly, I think it feels really cool, and you get the chance to use these all the moves and in the best way they can be used. So we definitely want to leave all those in.
Awesome. That's really good news. I think that I don't know how many devs think about the speedrun community as they're developing. Maybe a lot, maybe not. I'm just like kind of dipping my toe into the speedrunning thing and just kind of like learning about it. So yeah, I think that's awesome. And speaking of speedrunning and like the length of the game, I know that originally you were saying this was expected to be like a 4-ish hour experience, and then even before that, you said this is kind of going to be a bigger project. How long roughly do you think the game will be?
Well, the game, what we originally wanted to do just got much bigger, and one of our devs play tested the game for, I don't know what time again, and he actually beat the game at 100%, and it took him like, I think, 17 hours maybe.
Okay.
So honestly,
For somebody who knows what they're
I think
doing.
for somebody who knows what they're doing, 17 hours. But I think probably you can definitely 100 the game a lot faster. But somebody who picks up the game for first time and is familiar with these type of games, I think they can go through the whole game maybe I guess like 14 hours maybe. I don't want to like, don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it just
But
ballpark, because you're gonna have different people who have different experiences. Somebody's gonna get stuck on even a small or easy puzzle, and vice versa. So yeah, it'll vary quite a bit, I would imagine.
yeah.
So that's awesome. And then along with 100%, as of right now, do you guys plan on ever doing any sort of either expansions or DLC, or once you're done, would you guys move on to another project?
Well, we actually, there's at one point we thought we were going to be able to get a lot of the content in the game, so we started planning out some DLCs. But eventually we pretty much got everything that we wanted in the game, and
Awesome.
there's just one feature that I'd really like to get in as DLC, which we already have a prototype which works fine, but it's a 3D void maker
Okay.
in which people can just create their own levels and share them online, like cross-platform with other players. And it's something that it just needs a lot of some work, but it's not like too much work. So eventually, when we have some time in our hands, I think we can pull that off. And I think that'd be really neat because I haven't seen I mean, you have the Mario Maker, but I guess a 3D game with a full map making system would be pretty neat. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to have that out.
Interesting. That'd be really cool to see, especially to see a way to like share the maps between different people as well. If that's even a possibility, that'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, no, that's the idea. Like if we
Okay,
do
awesome.
implemented it, we're probably even gonna do it like cross platform. So that would
Yes.
also be pretty neat. And it's also pretty cool because since the whole system is like inside the game, it's not like a Steamworks thing where people just mod the game through their own like way, but it's actually in the game, so people can just do it like on their PlayStation or on their Switch and just share it. So I'm pretty hyped about that.
Got it.
I can't confirm where we're gonna do it, but I really, really want to finish that feature.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. Um, Speaking of which, next thing, so I want to make sure that we get a chance to plug the Blue Fire community. Anybody who wants to either follow the project or just be on top of like the latest and greatest of what's going on, where can they find you guys?
I would say just follow us on Twitter and then on Discord. Discord probably has the most activity, so I would really recommend joining that server. But we're also always posting on Twitter, so you'll eventually get all the news on there.
Awesome. Is there anything in particular that we haven't gone over that you think would be just interesting or fun to share, fun facts and stuff like that?
Let me think. Um, I guess probably things related to development having. I guess we've had pretty crazy things, and we just had to do so much stuff. Being a small team, and
Yeah.
at one point we even had like we even had at one point this I guess a kind of crisis where we thought we weren't gonna finish the art in the style that we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we just I guess we spent a few days trying out a new style, and we were gonna change the whole thing from one day to the next.
Whoa.
And eventually we were able to solve that. And we actually ended up doing a lot of procedural modeling for the environments, and that actually saved our game, at least the art of our game.
Interesting.
And but yeah, and like that we had, I guess we had a lot of experience. At one point, for example, we were gonna have we really wanted to have these like two beasts, like huge beasts that you would climb onto, like very similar to Shadow of the Colossus,
Uh-huh.
but we wanted it to be like a fully platforming experience and not so like a narrative, because I wouldn't call Shadow of the Colossus like a platformer. It's just the whole climbing experience is I guess it's pretty unique, but it's not like a platformer thing. and we wanted to have something similar, but where you would actually like be 100% in control of pulling a lot of stunts. And we actually prototyped this huge beast, and it was crazy, and we did a lot of sound, and we actually did a lot of work on that. But it's one of those things where we had to like cut it because it still needed a lot of work to be done. So that was crazy.
Interesting.
But
Are there any remnants of it in the game as far as like maybe an homage to it, or images on a wall, or something like that was just like, yeah, we did this thing,
yeah.
and this is and all I got with this was this image. That's all that's in there now.
Yeah, there actually is. So the name for it actually it's something that we always laugh about here, like in the office, and it ended up going into the name of a particular item,
Okay.
and that actually happened a lot. So we would have these crazy features that somebody like, especially at the early development,
Mm-hmm.
where when we prototype a lot of stuff, we'd had crazy features, and some of the names or some of the names of some characters that never made it into the game, they just stick around, and we'd laugh at those. And somebody, when something new came up, like we just needed this particular item for request, somebody would just name it with one of those things,
One
and
of
we
the things
just
that
all
got removed.
laugh, and we
Yeah.
just yeah. So I guess that happens a lot. The game definitely has a lot of like, I guess, internal Easter eggs.
That's funny. So, and then along that, you said that there were a lot of things, especially earlier on. I think it was mechanic wise that you said that you guys wanted to build in, and it just didn't feel right or didn't fit. What were some of the things that were removed, if you can share?
Yeah, sure. So we had at one point we had, for example, this we had a spell which was a range attack, and it actually felt it felt really good. But what happened there was the depth that that mechanic uh, could give us wasn't something that we hadn't time to elaborate on.
Hmm.
So in the end, if we ended up removing that because it just felt like you have this super cool mechanic, and there's not enough stuff in the world to use it on, and it just felt kind of bland. Like we knew people would be like, "Hey, this is so cool. Why didn't you guys do more stuff with it?" And it's just because we didn't have enough time.
Hmm.
Like and that happened with several things, several attacks. At one point, we even had crazy combos on combat, and we just completely removed all of those because they would just break a lot of other mechanics in the game,
Hmm.
and just required work. And we had to be very, very careful with every decision because I guess we had very little time to make the game. We actually signed the game like an year and like 13 or 14 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and at that moment we were only 4 people working 4 hours. So the bulk of the game, like the biggest part of the game, was done in like an year, and we internally actually ported to every platform. We had
Oh wow.
some assistants that setting up the environments for the platforms, but I guess so much stuff was new for us that we had to be very careful with what features we decided to keep in the game and which features we didn't. Like how big we would have an area be or how small, balancing out the world. And there's actually so many parts in the world that that it was just time consuming and challenging at moments. So the easiest thing was just for several things and mechanics, we just completely removed them, so it didn't feel bland. But we're really hoping that if enough people like the game, we'll actually have a chance to do a Blue Fire 2, and
Nice.
it will be just much easier to, since we'd already have the whole framework. We just completely focus on gameplay, and that, I guess that would be huge.
That's awesome. That's super exciting. I think it's gonna be good. I really do. I got high hopes for the way that the game turns out, as well as the reception of the game. I know that just a couple of people that I've talked to have had a chance to play it have all been really into it, and these are people who play a lot of different video games. So, yeah, yeah, very cool. I think that about wraps it up. So I will make sure to leave links down below for the Discord, in the Twitter for Blue Fire, as well as the Steam page, so that way you guys can check out the game. And yeah, super exciting. What is the as of right now the official range of the release date for the game?
It's probably going to be at the end of January, but I can't confirm that date yet.
Fair enough. Yeah, I thought I was expecting to hear Q1, so even end of January is just like, all right, that's sooner than I was expecting. So okay, well, thank you so much for spending the time with me. I know that you guys got a lot of work to do finishing up and all that kind of good stuff. So thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate you.
Okay, no, thank you.
All right.